Day by day, everyone is confronted with a lot of information. For example, from conversations, TV or internet. If you use computers, you can see everywhere are structure mechanisms, folders and mails, categories and time schedule, and of course, folders and file systems of the operating systems. My idea was to connect information better and help to handle the mass. Maybe the master way would be in system-wide or better user-wide database, but I think that's some steps away. In this video, I want to introduce my Infosystem. It's a personal database, which is mainly controlled by command line, but also has some GUI support. With the system I try to boil different approaches down to its essentials. I hope this intro can show this at least partly. The interaction is fast like with other command line tools, and it gives simple access to write data to an SQL database, to benefit later. The general structure is a bit like SQL itself. There's a complex query command, the msearch, and some small scripts to alter the data. With a filled database, the system is ready to use. Typing the following command, you can find entries which are in both categories, Linux and Windows. We can find, for example, Wine or Cygwin, or simply software which is available for both operating systems. With parameter C, I can count the items, without further output. If I want to know how many entries exist in one of both categories, I add the parameter n followed by 1 for the number of categories, which have to match. That's the way how n information is shown. The usual start is to run AutoInit script. At first it asks for viewing the configuration and previews zones. I type Y for editing. Here you can see the global configuration. The zone is a filter which information should be shown. For example, it's useful to separate private and business information. But it's possible to define other zones in the specific table. The second entry is the database location of the Infosystem. With the path of the Firefox profile, it is possible to import bookmarks and some information of downloaded files of the Firefox database. It is also possible to import lighting entries in the system with this path. A profile ID allows it to decide between different Firefox installations, for example at home or at work. For debugging purposes, it is very nice to set the whole system in verbose mode. More about the additional entries later. Let's have a look at the output of the AutoInit script. My AutoInit script is a combination of history, calendar and total list. Here you can find additions which added the same day another year. You can overview it and see if you need that items anymore or review them. It's especially good for birthday entries. The second shows what was on the same weekday but about 1 week later. For example, if there was some yearly event, then you get the hint there. The following points are also to remember information or to repeat things you want to learn. It uses the concept of learning by repeating with increasing periods of time. The entries in yellow showing the calendar functionality. That's usual, like other systems do this. Then I have a part with things to do and want to do. I decided this way that all things in category to do will shown, but only 2 randomly chosen items of each type in the want to do category. In the end there is some random tip, like this one. This information is also shown because it's in the category tips. Using categories for everything is a main concept of the system. Let's have a short look in the AutoInit script. There isn't much magic. Only a simple grep on config file to preview zones. The prompt to decide if you want to change something, and some headlines which shows what the msearch command does. Here we search for infos and links. With the parameter d of the command we can specify the date. That's all. As optional arguments for all auto-init searches I use P and K. It's for prevent writing history and keeping results, which I will explain later. msearch H shows this help. So for example of non-time based search, here is the query of want-to-dos. I only do two things. At first I calculate a random position and then I search the item on this position. The same way I handle tips. Not to forget is one important thing the auto-init script do. It adds category directories, what is very helpful. So going back to the command line. On a RAM disk there is the whole category information which is available for that zone. Temporarily stored. All categories and subcategories are in directories. There are also some aliases which are created as symlinks. In all commands I can use categories or aliases or a combination of them. But before I will show you further commands, let's have another look on the search results in a file manager. So here we have 3 directories for files, infos and links. Creating this directories and files is a feature of msearch. Normally msearch would clear this results before each new search. But that's why we used parameter k to keep all results from different auto-init searches. Now we could edit some information. To do this you can open it with your favorite editor. Write some text and save it. All we have to do after that is running the update script. With files, there are some links created on RAM disk. It's useful to enable preview, especially for images. Of course it's faster to edit data on command line. Using the vinfo command it opens an information with your default editor. So typing more words or something and close it. It's immediately in the database. Now it's time to add some information. So using the script add info, entering the title, for example save the world, and want to tag it with the categories want to do in topics and projects. You can see how it helps to use the tab completion. Instead of topics and projects I could also write this, which is the German translation in an alias of topics and projects, how you can see here. What we need to do first is to make a plan. Sadly I don't know how to save the world. Maybe my Infosystem or Google know more about it. Viewing the help there is one parameter to include a Google search. Let's do this. As we can see, my Infosystem has no information about it. But of course there are some Google hits. Let's take some of it which look good and create bookmarks of them in the corresponding folder. For demonstration, I also delete one of my bookmarks. So in another tab, I can add the Firefox bookmarks with this command. I have 2 options. I can only add new bookmarks since the last run, or I can use a diff to update. A diff is also very fast, so I choose this. Here we can see in a preview, which links will be deleted from the Infosystem. If I don't want this, I can simply remove the entry and save. In the next window we can see the previously added bookmarks. Because I want to add them, I will not change anything. After a short moment they are available. So now I could write something if I had read the stuff. But I only will save this information so far. Here I get the response that it's saved and which ID it has. Furtherly, one have some more options. I could change the name, or I have several options to edit the date. So I also can choose that the information will be auto-terminated after expiration or only tagged with another category. This will be initiated by a cron job. But what I want to do is to connect the info with a link. So I choose L. What you see here is a preview of some links which are in the same category or categories as my created info. If no link I want is there, I can get some more hits. From the add moz bookmark scripts I know the link IDs anyhow. So I can enter one. Doing the same again and add another link. And then finish. Oh, but now I remember there was one more I forgot. This is also no problem. Just starting script standalone, by typing customize info in the ID. Now let's give it the remaining link. Let's review the information by using msearch. Let's have another look at the categories. Maybe one category is not exact enough for me. For example, we take want to do. If want to add it to subcategory, I type tag info followed by the ID and want to do. With another tab it shows me the subcategories. It's the normal bash or shell functionality for directory and files. But there is nothing I want to use. So I can create another subcategory in want to do. All this is no problem. We can tag our info with the new category, now. If we search it again, we can see that the information has only the category want to edit but not want to do. But if I search it in category want to do, I can still find it, because it's a parent of want to read. On this point I want to show a bit of the verbose mode. So opening the config file and set verbose to yes. Then close it. Now we remove the category want to edit again. We can read what happens with the items tagged in this category. They are all tagged with its parent category now. Cause we had no alias for the category. There is nothing more to delete. If I add the category again in verbose mode, I can watch the SQL statements, which are executed. We also get the select statements, If we tag the link again, the results are colored and shows in this case that the parent category want to do will be removed from the item. This way the script helps to keep the Infosystem clean from unneeded entries. So one more example. Now let's show how using files. But at first we have to leave the verbose mode. So this is done, searching for movie, nearly everyone knows. With the parameter m I can add an IMDb search. We get the following results. You can see in results, there is a movie file and a subtitle file. If I open a file manager, I can also see the two symlinks on my RAM disk. I could open the movie now, but for fun I want to use another small script. With VLC jump, I can find, with the help of the subtitle file, a certain position. For this movie we can type the word freedom and find the scene, where the word appears the first time. Just watch a bit of the scene.